Like, this is just music playing at like a normal level in like East Origin. Like, that's the feel of like good East games, right? Where you're just like hauling ass, kicking dudes in. Like, I think this was just like what, like the middle of the game, some level. Well, I mean, I'm not officially starting yet. I'll cut the VOD here. Is it the boss music? There's songs like that though that I like. I mean, still. I thought it was what played in the Fire Zone was Overdrive. This one that sounded like a fucking Which one's the fire one? I don't remember. C tier. Was it Silent Desert? I mean, the thing with Origin is like all the songs are this way anyways, no matter where you're at. That is the actual desert music. Try the one before it, Scarlet Tempest. Oh, this was the fire one, you're right. Yeah, much more relaxed. much more chill. But yeah, so I don't know. That's like, I mean, Origin's like the fucking high point for the series. I mean, it's gonna have like the most. Like, you play that and you kind of get it. Desert After Tears. Anyways, let's turn it down a bit. Yeah. So anyways, folks. I don't know, do I need to like flash something on the screen to let myself know when I'm starting? Oh, this is a Zelda tier list. I don't know, whatever. This song fucked too, man. A 9? 10 just didn't have anything like this, man. And 9's not even that great! But it still had some bangers, man. They just lost the energy, man. In every way in this. Alright guys, so we're gonna do an East tier list now. I don't know when this VOD is cut, it's whatever. I always try to have like the tier list VOD do their own thing. Just finished East 10. Thought it was a little weak. Still had fun, but East is a very awesome series for me. I've always loved the speed and the pace and the music and the energy of East. And the upgrades and all that stuff. It's kind of moved away from that in some aspects, but in other ways it still kind of remembers it. I feel like 8 still remembers what that's all about and marries it with like a story. I think it's an excellent game. I think 9 and 10 don't remember that as well, especially 10. So it's cool to see the series like evolve or change more. Change is probably a better way to put it. But you know, I am wondering in the future where it's gonna go. But we're gonna do a tier list of all the East games that I've played. It should be the whole series plus a couple of the originals and remakes and stuff. The only ones we're really not going to have on here are the original 4s, which there's 2 of, I think. Don't ask how that fucking makes sense. I might play those at some point. I think they're bump combat, I don't remember exactly, but they were outsourced. So I don't know if a lot of people play them. I don't think they're supposed to be bad, so we might mess with them, but yeah, so I put Typing of East in here. I didn't literally play Typing of East, but we played Typing of East in Zwei 1, was it? It was just kind of there. I guess technically I've played it. I don't know if I should put it on the list. I guess I should. I mean, I'm gonna count it as a game. I put it on my finished pile. We'll see. That one's just kind of there because I played it. But anywho, this list, I don't know. It's gonna be. It's been a long time since I've played a lot of these, and some of them are going to be pretty similar. I think there's going to be a couple, like Felghana and Napishtim, that are going to be hard for me to like choose between. but we'll generally be able to knock it out. So when I put something on this list, it's gonna change. I just like the kind of tier list stuff compared to each other, so I gotta get something on the board. So. We could start with some stuff at the top, huh? Let's put 8 at the top. Let's go for that. Maybe not like the best one, but one of the best. So, big fan of 8. For as much of an old head. okay. I'll put them both on what to do. I mean, I'm not looking to do a speed one, but yeah, that's probably right. As much of an old East head as I am, I think 8 captured the feeling of speed, the level variety, and meshed it with like amazing music and a story that actually makes sense for an adventure. They're stuck on a deserted island. There's dinosaurs and shit's getting weird. It's not a good story, especially as you get into the later parts. But the character stuff's fun for a bit, and it's at least like funny, and there's events happening all the time, like funny bad sometimes, or just goofy, or whatever. Like, it takes a lot of screen time up, but it knows when to be there, and it's always at least entertaining. It's memorable. Maybe not good, but like memorable, right? The side characters are kind of fun because they're all from different places, and their goal is all just to survive on this island. And a bunch of dinosaurs are fucking running raids on you, and you're defending your camp and shit. And it's just kind of like a cute mesh of story and gameplay, and you know, your goal is to explore and figure out what's going on, and that's the gameplay, and that's the story, and it's just no bullshit. So it's just really well done. It takes the party system from 7 that's honed a bit in Salsetta and kind of perfects it. I mean, it's, say what you will about that kind of combat. I mean, maybe it's not the right speed for you or something. It's very spammy and all that. But it's got the speed and the momentum and the ass kicking of most of these games. So I like it enough. It's definitely not like a pain to play. It's a good time. The level design's good. It's got art direction, you know, not fidelity, but it was a Vita game originally, so. And it probably looks better than East 10. So I'm gonna turn this down a little bit. So yeah, East 8, just really excellent. It's not helps 9 and 10 at all. It's just that good. You're gonna play. It's probably one of those, like, if you're just like, you know, you've never played an East game and you're scared of like old games, I'd play 8. But we'll get into that because they're all really good, I think, for the most part. Not really. I mean, some of them aren't as good, but like it's a pretty consistently good series. I also put East Origin up there. This one's like the high god, like old school East game. I don't think anybody would be surprised. I don't think many people wouldn't put Origin up there. 3 playable characters, one of them's unlockable. Different play styles, just fast, crazy variety of levels, just fun bosses, clean challenge. You gotta remember, all these games tend to have like a challenge to them as well. I mean, you're going through the levels in a speedy way, and a lot of that's kind of your own making. Although if there's combos and it builds up meters, like it's about moving quickly through stuff. It pays off. It's part of the design. But and there's a lot of like nuance to master, which is kind of like just how you move, right? Like the old bump combat in 1 and 2. Like there's not many like special moves you have, but it's just kind of like how you move around quickly. And this one just kind of like really perfects that across 3 different playthroughs, which you'll do too, and on your first time, and the third if you just want, because one guy's unlockable or whatever. So yeah, just fun bosses. They're cool to learn. The music's rocking. I'm listening a little right now. You just can't go wrong with East Origin. As far as the old ADOL type of ones, the PSP type of era, this one's king. It's my favorite era of East as well. To nobody's surprise, I mean, most people are going to say that, right? But that's just kind of how it is. They just really knew what was going on. if you like ARPGs, I would really recommend it. They're just clean 10+ hour games that just haul ass. It's a good time. What do we got now? This is where we gotta start getting a little more weird. I guess we could put like the next most obvious ones. I would probably put Felghana. I don't think Felghana's like way worse than these. It's just that these are that good, and Felghana's just kind of like, you know, it's no Origin, but it's pretty much Origin. Like it's the same style, it's the same speed, it's the same, you know. If Felghana's Chester, right? Chester. Where's Chester music, dude? I don't remember what one says. The theme of Chester. Yeah, more of like an actual like country to explore instead of Origin, which is going up a tower. So you get a bit different of like a visual, and it's more normal for what East is. That's what Felghana is going to look like. But same thing, cool art direction, just fun. Fun bosses, cool speed. No bullshit gimmicks. I don't even remember really in Felghana what the gimmick was. Nepishtim was the one with like the elements that you like cycle between, right? Honestly, Felghana and Nepishtim, I played them pretty much back to back, and they run together really hard for me. Nepishtim's gonna be just right next to Felghana. You just can't go wrong with any of the old solo 8-all PSP era ones. Origin, Felghana, and Nepishtim. I guess there's no 8-all in Origin, but yeah, just awesome. Like if you're gonna play any East, make sure you play these four. Where's Nepishtim? Let's just pop it on there. I think this is. Yeah, I think these just hit the most. If you don't like Origin or these two, and you don't like 8, that's it. Like, the rest are good too, but these are kind of like the big boys. Just East distilled down to exactly what needs to be, with different like mixes and story and location and a couple gimmicks, and then an 8, obviously like a big change up. They're definitely the way to go. So, what now? Now we're starting to get into the weeds a little bit. I'd probably put Salsetta here. I think Salsetta could be maybe. Yeah, I think Nepishtim's good. I think Nepishtim's like the worst of the 3 easily, but it's still the best formula. I think Salsetta maybe could be like Nepishtim Felghana here, but it has the speed. It doesn't have like the shittier, like they've cleaned up party combat a little bit. The bosses are fun. You know, there's a nice little bit of challenge. Like it's just another clean East game, but I'd put it a little lower than the originals. It's hard for me to put a party game outside of like 8 on the same level as like Felghana, Nepishtim, and Origin and the stuff. So I don't remember how much worse Nepishtim was than Felghana. I've always considered them about same in quality. I mean, you know, obviously I think Felghana and Origin are better, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, Salsetta being a tier below, I feel like that's fair. Correct me if I'm wrong on that one, but yeah. I don't have a lot of detail to say on Salsetta, I guess. A lot of East games aren't similar to a Fault, but like it's going to be a lot of the same pros. They mix it up a little bit in location. You know, this is a party game, so you have like, you know, what, 3, 4, 5 people, whatever the fuck it is. 9 above Salsetta. Well, I'm not going in order. 9 might be above Salsetta. Yeah. That's true. I might put it in 9 tier. Honestly, I'm wondering where I'm gonna put 1 and shit. I almost want to put 1 above. Probably not. I do like they're all pretty close at this point. Well, not really. There's some that are far below, but yeah. But that's the thing is like a lot of these games are gonna be similar. East isn't like the same shit every time, but it knows what it's trying to be and works within that range. It's kind of like your Dragon Quest and stuff. So if I'm gonna give it pros, it's gonna be a lot of the same stuff. It's more refined than 7. Not as refined as what came after, which is 8. It's kind of right in between. Still quick. Still fun. Godsma's in this one, so it's funny. But it's, yeah, definitely more primitive. Yeah, we could probably put 9 up there. I'd maybe put... My thing with 9... is like, while it has fun movement and the level design's still not fucked, it's still kind of bogged down by story and its art design's way worse. It's essentially an 8, but just like not as good, but it's not like bad or anything. Like I still enjoy it. We'll see where 9 ends up. No, I mean 9 is doing this like superhero Avengers thing. Where it's like another party game, so this is the 4th party game after 8, starting with 7, then Salsada. Party games meaning there's like 6 characters and you pick your 3. They have like a type like pierce, blunt, and like sword slash, and you swap between them and spam their moves depending on what the enemies are and shit like that. This one, instead of like kind of a big like bunch of maps you run through, which it does do that, it's focused a lot on this hub, which is you run around the city where you like run up walls and float around and fly and shit like that. And they try to do some stuff. It's cool. They definitely were trying to mix it up, and I think if you're just playing through the whole series, it's a welcome like bit of spice. It's still East. They're still trying to kind of make it quick and fun, but it does get a little bogged down, like I said, in an even worse story that's not as funny until the end. Not as great of music, not as great of most things, but it's still a good time. It pulls a lot from 8, but I mean, why not on the next game, right? Origin and Felgana pull from the Piston, it's not like a problem. Still fun, I like it, but it's a little bit. But we'll see. It might be a little self-sided for me. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's see here. Typing of East. I mean, I don't even know what you say about typing of East. Not as good. It's a cute thing. It's not as like. It's not as good as like stuff like House of the Dead or something. There's not much like to it. You literally just type. There's no like powers or anything. It's like as bare bones as you could get. We'll just put it low. It's not a extremely fun typing game, but whatever. I played it, so it's fun. We'll beat it, please. Yeah. So East 1. I'd probably put East 1 in this tier. I might have to make more tiers. We'll see. Just for like power gap. But, I would probably put East 1 up here. Some people aren't going to resonate with the bump combat. I think it's clean. I think it's probably one of the best looking East game. Honestly, like the fidelity is just really clean. It's so focused. You just don't get games like that anymore. It was all like in the early RPG days and games combined. Like, 2 gays. They got me thinking about it all day, man. Yeah, it's just Every level up is huge. You have a little bit more freedom to go places on the map at times. Every piece of equipment feels big. It's no fat, just like a 6 fucking plus hour story, whatever the fuck. Just boom. I mean, it's got a technical issue nowadays where if you have unlimited FPS, you like the final boss is on like roids, but other than that, like it's just a quick fun time. Exploration, you just go out, no hand holding. It's not like a super open game. I mean, it's relatively linear, but like you just go, you get your upgrades, you get your levels, and just rock. The bump system is essentially if you run directly at a guy, you get fucked, so you need to run at him at like a slight angle, and your dude will like auto attack him really quick and just bust through him. So it's about running quickly essentially through guys and killing them with like nuanced little movements. Does that sound familiar? I mentioned it during like Origins and stuff. It's the same principle as they go through the series, just with more buttons and more, you know, combos and, you know, more extensive boss fights and shit like that. So I think each one's still just straight to the point, just clean fun, doesn't get too bogged down. I think 2 is a step beneath. It's the same shit as 1. They're pretty much the same, you know, just one big game. And they even bundle them like that. It's the continuation of the story. But I do think 2 is a little worse because they don't really like evolve it at all, but they also include a lot more kind of tedious levels. There's a level or so that are just kind of bog it down a little bit, and you've kind of had your fill at that point. So it's not much worse. If you like 1, play 2. It'll still be a good time, but like I said, one of 1's strengths is you're starting from 0, becoming beastly, and it just runs at a steady clip through a lot of areas, and 2 just half the game's kind of in like one zone, so it kind of just hurts it a bit on the level design front. Still a great looking game. Yeah, I might have to make another tier, man. I don't know. We can put them in typing if you say. I'd probably put, I guess, Travelers to East on this tier. It's a fun side-scrolling little ARPG beat 'em up. It's kind of like Zelda 2. It's pretty fast as well, but not really like as clean as like Old East 1. It doesn't look as good either. But it's a cool game. It's them kind of mixing it up. Like I said, this is a Zelda 2 to, you know, for East essentially. And they're just trying to figure out what they're after. It's a good time. I think if you're like a big East guy, gal, person, whatever, it's not a must play because it is different enough, but it is fun. I would have to recommend it more to people like I said, like Zelda 2 or side scroll RPGs. Not too many of those old school style ones like that out there, like Zelda 2. It's not super memorable, but it's still fun, so I'd recommend it. I'd probably put 5 in this tier as well. I don't know where I'd put 5. Maybe right in between. Maybe, I don't know, maybe Travelers is better. I don't, these are all pretty close, so 5 is the only one that does not have a Western release localization. I would say this is one also that's probably on the block for the next remake. It's probably the only one that would have like a full like new reimagining. East remakes tend to be completely like East Travelers from East. Felgon is the remake. They're nothing like I couldn't even fucking tell you a single similar. I mean they might as well not be the fucking same shit, but like technically it's the same deal. So. And that box art for Travelers from East is fucking hilarious too. You can't really see it, but it's like the typical Western like fucking muscle dude just screaming, killing shit, and then like another guy screaming, killing shit. I mean, I don't even know who that is in the background. Is that supposed to be Dogi? He doesn't use a shield. He uses his fists. So who knows, man? Well, yeah, East 5, though, it's like a desert, which is kind of a cool setting. East 5 plays more like a Zelda, kinda, but action focused. It's not super fluid and fast. You know, it still has an explorable little world, semi-explorable. Usually it's like, East is like, not on rails, but it's kind of somewhere in between. Like you can run around the world, but generally you're gonna kind of know where you can go next with a couple detours. So I would say that, yeah, East 5, I don't know, it doesn't stand out super hard. It does some cute things, I guess, here and there. It's a fun little adventure. It's not like a bad game, but it just doesn't have the speed, it doesn't have the energy and the music, even the visuals and stuff. It's just a cool like top-down action game if you're looking for one like Zelda, but I'd really like to see this one reimagined. So. And now we're down to East 10 and 7. 7 is like the worst East for me, I'd say. Let me put this down here so somebody doesn't come in and think that's exactly where I put 10 yet. Yeah, East 7 is like the worst East for me. It's still fun, it's still fast, it still has nice little upgrades, but this is the first time the party system exists. It's crude. It's not ultra awesome to be swapping and spamming as much, but it's not the worst. The biggest problems with E7 are the bosses and the story. So E7's when they start putting in story heavily into these games. Normally at this point, East is like, you'll get some story, you'll get some NPCs, they'll give you some lore, you'll spend some time, maybe like an hour each game doing story out of like a 10-hour game or plus, right? But it knows that you want to get out there and you want to bust ass, you want to keep moving around, but 7 is so, bloated. Yeah, that's literally the name of the game. The bosses are like, so in East, normally bosses don't die super low. It's usually very lethal. You can optimize, learn the fights. This is for old East. New East is a joke, always. You just spam shit almost every time. Even in 8, and 8's a great game. But in the old ones, it's like, you don't have a whole lot of mechanics. It's about learning and moving and dodging and jumping around and perfecting these things and then getting in damage right when you need to. And, they're not going to last a super long time. Like Salsetta, some of these bosses are like a couple minutes or something. But they're lethal, right? You fuck up a couple times, it's over. You don't have much healing, not like in the new ones where you get like infinite heals pretty much. Or if you do have healing, maybe it's like a risky thing. Very rewarding challenge and lots of different difficulties to play on. 7 though, good god, the fights last forever. They introduce way more healing in this game, and to justify it, they make the bosses take way longer than they should. It is a slog to fight the bosses in this. When you're just running around the levels, it's not the best East has to offer, but it's comparable enough. It's fun enough. There's a lot to like kind of clean up as the series goes on the party system, but it's a fine first outing on that front. But like, yeah, the bloat of like the bosses, the amount of story is like, oh my god, it's like half story, extremely expository, just constant blabbering about lore and characters you just don't care about. And because this still has like the drapings or the feel of like a speed East game, it hurts so much more when you're getting stuck listening to these fuckers just blabber on about nothing. You don't give a fuck about the lore or anything. So it's really bad on that front. And then at the end of the game, usually when you in an East game, you might have to do a little bit of extra killing if you've not been like really thorough, just to get that level, because in old East games, if you're not around the right level, you're gonna have a hard time. So you kind of want to stay at like a a competitive level with the bosses. But so there's usually not too much grinding, but there's like a touch you might have to do here and there. Just like round out a level. But 7, by the end of the game, like if you want to, you have to use every character, and you only use 3 at a time, but you have to use every character. You gotta get all their like weapons and level them up and stuff. And it doesn't take that long, but it's just kind of like a like I said, East games are strong because they're usually extremely no fat, very focused. So to have stuff like that, and then the boss bloat, and then the story bloat, it just makes, while for a good time still, I'd still recommend it. Definitely my least favorite East. There's some very clear fault. Yeah, the Coliseum is like a really good fight in the entire series. Where Adol's like got a solo. It's funny because it's a solo fight and you have to actually learn stuff. And it's just like Adol just him with like no bullshit, and it's a great fight and a cool moment. That makes Adol look like a fucking Giga Chad, but it's worth playing just for that. And I don't think E7's maybe a bad game, but it's the closest you can get to. I feel like that level. I mean, technically that's the worst one, but I mean, it's not even in the same. It's not even a thing, really. Oh, God, I keep having this, like, I don't know if it's acid or bruise or my heart's gonna explode or something. Just to this feel it. It's almost more towards the shoulder armpit area. Anyways, one more game, which is East 10. Fuck, I don't know, man. I'm thinking like East 2 tier. Thinking like here, maybe here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. East 2 was like tedious at times, but I was never like bitching about it or anything like I did with East. I mean, if we're gonna go for a game I didn't bitch about, East 10 would be here then. For me. I mean, these games are over quickly, so that helped them a lot. And there's a lot to talk about with 10. Just because I bitched about it a lot doesn't mean I truly think it's like that far below. Maybe it's the Fatitude. I don't know, man. Ten for me, just, I mean, I'm coming really recently off it. It just, I feel like it's the least, you know, when they know better and they're working off a formula, like the most eroded the East formula has almost been. Like you could say 5 is kind of eroded because it's sort of just like not that fast, but it's like them trying like a different thing after an outsource, and it's still like a kind of quick action game. Like, so you could say maybe that, but like it's the point you're at like 10 is like they know better. Like you get all these systems and all these stories and stuff, and they're still writing like these textbook like boring ass shonen stories that just are fucking lame, full of the worst tropes and contrivances. And this one doesn't even like follow it to a level that like at least just gives you the usual like climaxes and stuff. Like it just kind of peters out and it's just kind of boring, and the final area doesn't even feel like the final area. And I don't know, they try new combat, but it still comes across kind of like just a spammy party system game. It's extremely unbalanced. Probably the easiest East period. Probably. This might be the easiest fucking East game on hard. Like straight up, man. I mean, 8 was, I guess, pretty easy too, and 9 was. They're close, but like, I mean, just this one feels like they've lost the sauce a little bit, not completely, but a bit, and bloated it with story that's just not interesting, and systems like the boat that just aren't really well fleshed out at all. It's just boring, spammy bullshit. with bad AI and uninteresting locations and upgrades that, while fun to just get, end up just being like me literally pressing every button on the controller. They're still using the same raids, the same quest formula, the crew structure, but just doing it like worse. Like weak soundtrack, uninspired visuals. They're just not interesting to look at, despite it being a game about sailing to unique islands. I don't know, man. Like, yes, it's like a big, crazy 3D adventure, so like it just looks like it'd be better than like 2 and stuff, but like I had more fun playing 2. I mean, 2 looks better, regardless. We didn't talk about that during the East 10 review. Yeah, the animations and stuff, it's kind of got this like floaty slowness to it, and the screenplay on most stuff is just very dry and boring. And I was talking about like the lighting and stuff. It's like everything else in the game. It's just very flat. Still fun. Like I said, I don't think any of these are bad. But I don't know. Would I rather play East 5 again or 10? I don't know. These are close. I'm not gonna lie, these are close. I think 2 is better. 2 has a level design problem at one point, but it's still like pretty crispy clean bump combat. And it looks nice. Fun music. Like 10's missing so much. 10's problem is more from like a series fan perspective, I guess, than truly just its own problems. Well, that's not entirely true. I think that's fair still. I don't know. And 5's pretty forgettable, and it's not like the most juicy action game, but I don't know. It was more interesting. Zwei, yeah, what we got the Falcom tier list. Where would I put Zwei? I mean, Zwei 2 would probably be like East 10 tier in here. Zwei 2 would be like Belgana tier. Xanadu next would probably also be Felgana tier, I would say. Those are good action RPGs. If you guys haven't played Xanadu, that's Falcom game. Xanadu next is more like Diablo. Think like Diablo, sort of a dungeon crawler kind of thing, but with kind of like East action sort of going on. Really would recommend it. Zwei is kind of like also sort of procedural dungeony kind of crawler feel, but with a lot more kind of like monster of the week comedy chipper vibes going on. The first one gets a little dull. It's very fundamentally kind of fucked game on some of the moves, and how the levels are kind of laid out, and repetition. Looks great, but Zwei 2 is a much more polished, fleshed out, like full ass, like 20-30 hour game that just feels good to level up and clear stuff. Got a funny story. German, I'm not starting German. I got too much to play. We'll get to German. Yeah, there's your little pseudo extra Falcom action RPGs. We'll do the Nayuda, is that what it's called? The Zwei 3 successor type of thing with trails or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think? You think this is fair? What do you guys think? East heads. Any big bad ones here? I feel like this is a pretty typical list. I think your like most wild takes here. You think I'm crazy to put 1 above 2? Really? I mean, I played them back to back. Maybe I'm missing something, but 1's just so fucking just straight to the point and clean. Like I said, I mean, if East 2 didn't have that really long level, that's kind of gets old. Like, I'd probably put it above it, but some fucked bosses. I don't know, man. I really liked I could go to the mines and fight bosses early in 1 and just totally just destroy shit later. I had fun with it. I mean, maybe the very first mage guys kind of whatever. I see. I like that lack of direction. You just go, man. It's probably the most like open, like no handhold ease. That's why I like it. I mean, they're close, man. They're right next to each other. But I get you. Any other ones where it's like, wow, what is this thing? I do think the level cap's a little too quick. One of my problems with it. But each level feels so good to get. It's not a huge deal. And you still get equipment, though. But yeah, so I don't know. I think my hottest takes here are probably my East 1 and 2 placement. I think a lot of people just probably won't like bump combat. I would imagine my East 10 is being a tier below 9. Yeah, I don't know. I think that makes sense. That tracks. I mean, 5 and Travelers. I don't know. I mean, maybe 7 should be like 10 tier. Maybe 7's too low. I don't know. Seven's too high. It should be below typing of ease. I don't know. I think this is about spot on, and I honestly think this is probably pretty accurate to relatively to probably what most people who play this series would think. I think you're gonna get a couple weird ones like East 1 and 2 that are gonna be different people. Nobody plays 5 for me, and Travelers for me, but otherwise, I mean, this isn't bad. Another being a lack of direction, so that's a promise that you need to do some nonsensical shit with the roto tree to progress the game. I don't know. There's something about the just honesty and the simplicity of those kind of old RPGs that just is really appealing, rewarding. Yeah, I mean, there's maybe some crypticness. I've never thought East 1 was even anything close to like cryptic or getting, you know, when we get lost in the sauce. And I mean, a little bit maybe, but I get you. I mean, I get you. I think it's an interesting point. And I totally respect somebody putting them lower or swapping them. But Jesus, even the like orchestral songs are much more interesting in 8. God, listening to 8 music, I mean, I almost want to drop 10 more, bro. It's like 10's kind of just pathetic when you think about 8. I think even if like you went from, I mean, imagine this scenario. You go from 7 Salsetta to like 10. What does 10 look like? Is it still fucked? I mean, it probably would be. I mean, 8 being as good as it is and 10 being in like very similar does not help it. But I mean, it didn't kill 9. I mean, it definitely hurt 9, but like, it didn't kill the thing. I was too late. I should have started later. I actually just finished the tier list too. If you want to talk about anything on it, if you're looking to chit chat, just go for it. Yeah, I mean, I finished it. I finished quicker than I thought I would. It took about an hour and a half, 2 hours. Start up the we can re-app. Yeah, I should have started later. I should have asked you when you're getting on. But no, we did the tier list. What do you think, man? Anything freakish on here, Fasto? I feel like Fasta probably would have 10 up near 9. Oh yeah, the return of Karja. The Arctic message was interesting. I don't want them to tie any of that to Karja, but it was cute. You swap 9 and 10? Yeah, I figured you might. I think 9 at least tries to do something and still feels pretty good. It's living in the shadow of 8 and has like not very great art direction, but 10 just feels so lifeless at times. And I feel like it's one of the biggest losses of like East DNA out of the series at this point. Like I said, they're not like that different. I don't think it's a power gap between 9 and 10, but... And 10's problem is also it's living in the shadow of everything that came before it. Maybe in a bubble, it's like they're closer, but... Oh, really? Yeah, I couldn't even see what was going on. I just pressed 2 buttons over and over. I had the opposite reaction. I liked his big boat. And I liked the mermaid was kind of cute. You know, it was like a 2v2, but man, the setup for that boss fight. I honestly thought there was gonna be another dungeon. And I was like, wait, this is really it. It's just a gray island with floating rocks. And the music's like, sounds like a Xenoblade X song. And then you get in there and it's like he just takes in the power, but if you kill him while he's got the power disappears. I guess that's how the rules work. It's just this kind of like weak setup and like payoff. I like the old man. I wish he was in a different game. The Rulo guy. He was kind of fun. Maybe his VA was just good. But the fight was so goddamn messy. I couldn't even see shit. And I didn't even have 2 of my trinkets on. I had 80% less power. Yeah, I'm sure on Nightmare it's like better or something, but I don't know. It was a cute fight. I mean, the game was like almost all reskins, even the super bosses, so having one fight that was a bit more unique was cute, but it didn't move the needle for me, sadly. But I get you for sure. My thing is like, I wish at least 10's story was like funny bad like 8's. Like 8 knew when to keep in its lane for the most part, but when it did have story, it was at least like an event or something funny bad. Like 10's story is such a fucking like flatline tropey shonen, just nothing, full of contrived, just hot air, just to facilitate like. I feel like they almost wrote themselves in like corners just so that, you know, and then they had to like make up for it to let you do side quests and stuff, and it's just the same trauma, the same drama. It's just uninteresting. The levels are uninteresting. The art design's uninteresting. The soundtrack feels like shit they just had left over from the last 2 games. The combat's got some cute ideas, but I don't think they put it together at all. It's the most spammy to win out of all of them because of the damage reduction. I mean, at least in 8, it was piss easy, but at least I would fucking dodge, man. I just stopped even caring at the end of fucking 10. I literally would. I think I blocked 2 attacks on the final boss. I like tried to even block 2. It just didn't even matter, right? So I don't know. They got a lot of work. And I don't think conceptually it's bad, but goddamn if the execution ain't there. And I don't think moving between the levels is fun either. Like, the skateboard needs to be way more responsive and flow way better into the other move tech. The enemies need way less HP so that you can make use of this fucking board flying around. The levels are so stop and go, especially with the Batman shit. The fucking field abilities are a joke. Like, Jesus Christ, I would just take spam happy 8. At least you just kept moving, man. Like, that's my thing with 10 is like, everything cool about it is like, oh, this could be cool in like 10, like in 2 games, you know? Like, it doesn't hit anything like of it on its own for me. The shit like the sailing and the skill tree are like a fucking joke, man. Like, wow, yeah, I'm really gonna build like a crazy different build in 10. Like, no, you're not. You're just gonna build damage. Who the fuck isn't gonna just build damage? You might do like dark damage and get even more, but it's more like busy work. Just to justify like reward systems. The bartering, it's just more crap. Like, I'll just take gold, man. Like, was it so bad? Like, they're trying to make it this like trading thing, but it's like all it is just a different flavor of gold. And you have to go find merchants to make it work. Like, it's still fun. I don't think any of these games are bad. 7 gets the closest, but like, it's still fun, but 10 just feels so unpolished. So not thought out enough. And I do feel like 10 has a budget issue. That the last level is like reskins on a gray barren map. I mean, fucking hell, man. They've either really lost it or like they really phoned it in, man. I mean, maybe they just, like, all the new systems they put in, like the boats and all that, just they buckled under it all, and they just had to get it out there. Maybe they thought the story was art and it was just gonna carry, but man, there's nothing tying it together. It is so just slipshod at times and desynced. like that the boat stuff isn't even fast in an East game and really lethal with like a high skill to it. Like, it's so just dull. Like, just nothing is tuned in this game. Yeah, and it could be a bit of all of them fast though, honestly. Like, yeah, maybe it's them figuring out the engine, you know. Yakuza has that issue. Yeah, like I said, the systems, maybe too many systems they were trying to figure out, and they just, you know, it diluted it down. I mean, that's Ubisoft tier shit, man. Adding bullshit and it dilutes it. Well, I mean, if you want a point of comparison, 4 is one of the best ones in Assassin's Creed. And it did the same shit as this, so. But that's also a AAA game, but it's also got really great ship combat. Not great everywhere else. They at least could just copy something from the game before and attach it to ship shit. They could have done that in this, and they kind of did, but I feel like I said, I mean, East has never been like a big budget, like flashy, do it all kind of series. Even in 8, when they really mix it up, it's super strong because they don't forget what East is about. That I'm a huge East like Origin guy, and then I somehow put 8 on the same tier just shows how well they knew what East was about in 8 and didn't fuck it up. 9, they're mixing it up, so I'll give them that. But 10, it's like, I feel like they've just lost I feel like they're copying like 8 and 9, but I don't think they get it anymore on the level they should. And I'm worried that it's going to stay that way. Like 8 felt like they still got what East was about, and they're evolving it or changing it. But 10, it doesn't get, I don't get that at all. The quality's just not there. East has such a strong musical identity, and 10 has none of that. Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a huge deal. But my thing is, like, what if every island had a different song? It's like, most of them just feel the same. It's like, it would still be good if there was great music, but it's like, Christ, how do you even get, like, excited to, like, make a song for this game? Like, almost none of it is, like, interesting. There's, like, no interesting locations. Anything that isn't just a plain island is, like, just a gray building or city or something, right? Like, I mean, it could be like procedural, that level of bad, but like, and it's still fun to just run around, but it's like, I mean, the level art direction and stuff is doing nothing. Yeah, the game looks worse than fucking 8, which is a Vita game. Art direction's worse. Like, fidelity too, I think. I bet if I put them side by side, I'd probably think 8 looks better. And I care more about art direction, but it probably fucking actually looks better too. I would not even expect. I mean, maybe characters wouldn't look better. The character models look clean enough in this, but and I just find the new mechanics. How to be their loads. Yeah, very copy paste. Yeah, sailing is barely can justify its own existence. It should have been like a speed thing where you're busting through cool obstacles and blowing guys up with side cannons really quickly, like East would be like, going through straits and rivers and shit. Instead, it's just like mind-numbingly slow for most of it, and even when it's not, it's like just sailing, right? And if you want a big open world to like explore and you want to hone in on that adventure part, then give me interesting places to find. That they're like, yeah, every island's just going to be pretty much the same. That isn't a story island. I'm like, Jesus, dude. Nobody would be like, yeah, we're going to make a sailing game with islands and just do that, right? Even Phantom Hourglass fucking tried sometimes, man. And that game fucking sucks. At least I like the DS Island or something. But I mean, that's, it also fucks up pretty hard. Yeah, these are like the worst, some of the worst raids. I mean, they're piss easy to ask, and they're not fun to do. And there's only like 7 of them. I was already rolling my eyes, fucking even doing the last couple. Yeah, the pacing and the writing is just fucking. Like I said, all these characters. Give me 2 hours, I'll forget them, man. I already forgot half their names, probably. The best part of the story was honestly laughing at all of the dead mothers. Like, straight up. That was the most fun part of the story for me. Like, if you're gonna have a big, long story East game, at least make it fucking, like, stupid over the top. Like, most of the over the top shit in this was, like, typical shonen over the top, which is not that interesting because the setup's not that good. I mean, the super boss is just a reskin fucking troll, and there's like 4 of those already. I mean, good god, at least 8 had like a unique guy at the end, didn't they? And then they also had the post game like dragon and all that shit. It's like, I mean, just compare that, like all of the different bosses, the locations in 8, like 10 looks like they didn't even fucking try. Like, just think about all the levels, the bosses, the music. That they even had scenic vistas as like an actual mechanic in that game. Think about the Archaeozoic big hole. And then just like think about 10. It's like, it feels like a fucking like Walgreens like cheap knockoff, man. That's why I said it almost feels like a budget thing, but like I guess it's not. It's just incompetency. I don't know. They just don't have their spirit in it. They lost the sauce with the fucking boats. I don't know, man. Like, it's still fun. I don't think, if anything, because they've just copied better stuff at this point. Like 8's so good that they can kind of copy it, and like games can still ride its coattails at this point. But like, I don't know how many more of those they got in them, dude. Like, they've got to really fucking change like the entire flow of these games, the structure, or just really fucking turn that quality up if they're gonna keep doing the same shit. And we'll see, man. I love East. I really don't wanna but I mean, I was like, you know, we were after 9, we were like, oh yeah, that was kind of a step down, you know, whatever. But like 10, it's like, I feel like it's, for me, it's even more, man. I'm not like worried about it, but I don't know. I gotta wonder how much this shit sold. What did this review? I mean, let's be real though. Your average journalist nowadays is not gonna like East, but East 10 review. How did this do for people? 80 on Metacritic. I mean, that's probably more than I thought. Not many people review. Some people are like really all in on it. Going back to yearly releases. Oh, for Falcom in general. Did they really crank out a game a year? I guess so. I mean, East games come out every like 4 years. Oh, really? And they've only got 40 people? No, I mean, like, how many years has it been since 9? How often do we get an East game? Yeah. Damn, man. Yeah, I think that could be it. I mean, honestly, they might just be doing, and I mean, that to me is a budget thing. If they need to release a game a year to crank in cash, then like the games are gonna suffer. That's just how it is. Like, if they don't have the staff to fucking pull it off, like this game feels so dry and bare bones. I mean, like I said, just look at the levels, look at the bosses, look at the variety, look at the music. It all feels, and if it's not budget, it comes across budget. Because maybe they're rushing it, maybe they're just trying to get, it doesn't feel bare minimum in the way like like some bottom of the barrel shit is, but like it's night and day with like 8 and 10. Like it absolutely feels like stripped down, and not in a focused way, but like they're not allowed to have creative places. They're not allowed to make like new assets. They're not allowed to like polish it. You know, there's not as much soul and passion in it. Like it's still fun. But like I said, I feel like it's because they have something good to copy more than it is something they've done. Exams being made while East 8, but they just left newbie dose to work on. Took exam to train up the veterans, worked on East. Yeah. Yeah, and I mean, that might just be talent, problems, the amount of time they have. I mean, the amount of budget they can actually work with. This song is not an East. Yeah. I mean, there's almost no songs in East 10 that give you any feeling. There's like a couple that have some atmosphere, and they're not the rock songs. Was that the lamest East final area in the series? Oh, is it about interesting? I mean, that's fine. I mean, it's pretty good. I'm trying to think of one that was worse. There probably is one, but I mean, Jesus. It's just a gray island with a couple of floating rocks and reskinned enemies. The Akashic Records. Yeah. I think East 10 just needed something bad. So how it slots in is like one of the worst for me, but maybe just in a bubble, yeah, it's like maybe a couple or worse or get close. Like in a game that's like 50 hours of like mediocre level design, or 40, I don't even know how long this game took. And the last one just, which the one where you think they'd finally actually just have something, it just, I mean, to the last level's credit, at least you could skateboard more freely because it was big open areas, and then there's like some rails, but the rails are so stiff and feel so fucked. Rails? I don't know why you quit. Comfy. There must have been drama or something, and I would not be surprised if that's had something to do with something inside, something to do with like the quality of coming out. I thought people liked Daybreak. Is it the game after people aren't liking? Like, what is the state of Trails nowadays? Like, what are people thinking? Oh, he still works there. He just doesn't do the music on ease? Oh, he stopped composing. What does he do? Webmaster? Alright. Well, hopefully they can stir something in the motherfucker to make some more music. The Webmaster. Does Falcon even have a website, bro? Anyways, guys, that's the tier list. We can keep talking, of course, but I'll end it there for the VOD's sake. Yeah. Yeah, right, Tracker. I'm telling you, they needed to at least be a bit more fluid. And okay, you know, if we can do 50-50 Smith grinds and acid drops and shit, okay, that's awesome. But at least for fuck's sakes, like just make some flow between the fucking stuff. Anyways, guys, that'll be it for the tier list, but we'll keep talking.